Hello, everyone. It's Deb of Deb Loves Jewelry and Deb Loves Designs. Today, I'm starting a series on YouTube here called Tell Me About. And this is the first video in the series. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for being here. If you're already a subscriber, if you're not, I'd love for you to subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and please hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. Today, our topic in Tell Me About is Tell Me About Toggles. And this is one of several videos where we'll go a little deeper into things about jewelry. So, jewelry making or jewelry watching, jewelry collecting, jewelry selling, that kind of thing. Today's topic is a little bit more focused on jewelry making and the use of toggles. So, why would I tell anybody about toggles? Why should you care about toggles? Well, if you are a jewelry maker, you might want to use toggles in your designs. So today I'm going to talk about that and how you can do it in a traditional form, how you can do it in the best way, and maybe how you can step outside of the box and use toggles a little bit differently. So let's start with, what is the definition of toggle? Well, you might think about toggle as like toggling back and forth on your computer between apps or between different screens that you're using. Yes, that is toggling, but a toggle is really a way to fasten something. So it is, I'll show you a typically made with metal, although it could be done with other material. This is a toggle, and it is usually some kind of a loop, some kind of a bar. You attach your jewelry piece to it, and you use it to pull one strand through. And then the weight of your necklace will or bracelet will pull down on the toggle loop and create a secure closure. So it creates a little bit of a mechanism to hold your piece on. So these were used first in the 1800s, and I think were really popularized in the 2000s. And they've been used in all different kinds of ways for jewelry making. You will see them in bracelets and necklaces. So I like to use them. I don't always use them, but I like to use them in both bracelets and necklaces. And they have been really used by a lot of designers. I think Tiffany has used them pretty successfully and have made them sort of part of the design. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today too. So this toggle in front of me here is a really simple toggle. So very, very simple design, plain. It's made out of pewter, very plain metal, nothing, super fancy about it, but it does the job and it does the job nicely. But you can find toggles of all different shapes and sizes. Here's a fun toggle in a cool shape. This is a like triangular piece of metal, but with a loop in the center and, same toggle bar, simple toggle bar. You can find really small toggles. So this one's a tiny toggle. There's actually tinier ones than this. You can get them fancy. So this one's got some design to it. So there's design on the toggle bar as well as on the toggle loop. Really fun. There are also amazing statement toggles. So this is on a card, but look at the size of this one. This is an artisan made toggle, and there's still a loop for us to pull our toggle bar through, but this is a wow toggle. And we'll talk about using toggles as a focal element to our jewelry. So I love that. And then you can also use toggles for multi-strand pieces. So look at this big beauty. This one actually has two loops on the back here where you connect two strands of whatever it is, beads or chain, and then you connect to on the other side. So this is a multi-strand toggle. So you can do multi-strands. Toggles are sold for multi-strand jewelry making. So this is a fun way to accent a multi-strand piece. I used to make a lot of multi-strand necklaces, and my focal would be my toggle. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So I have heard people say that they don't really like using a toggle. And, I guess I can understand there sometimes are concerns about using toggles because maybe they aren't the most secure of a closure. Now, I will tell you, if you use a toggle correctly and use a good quality toggle, you're really not going to have much of an issue. Now, I wouldn't recommend using a toggle for a very light piece. So if you're going to make a very light use like light acrylic beads or wood beads, it's probably not going to activate that closure of the toggle. So it's not going to be weighted enough for your toggle to be, pulled into the loop. So I would strongly suggest that most of the time you're using something with some weight. So some glass or gemstones or enough of whatever it is you're working with that it will create that weight, because your toggle bar can wiggle its way out because there's nothing pulling on it and activating it. So let me go back to, so if you've got your piece and you don't have enough weight, this guy can kind of move around and maybe get itself out. And I can see that that might be why people wouldn't want to use a toggle. But let me give you some tips. So this again is one of my favorite toggles to use. And as you can see, when I set this on the toggle bar onto the toggle loop, look how much metal is on either side of that loop. There's quite a bit extending on either side. That's what I like about a toggle. That's going to give me some added security. The shorter that is, the more opportunity that toggle bar can wiggle out and wiggle through your loop. And then, you might have a piece that, falls off and gets lost or falls off and breaks, and just doesn't make you feel very good about wearing it. Now, let me show you an example of one that has lesser metal on either side. So this one is a smaller toggle, but it just is a little bit too shy on either end. I saved these to show you, but I don't use these. They're just a little too short on the sides for me. So I would always suggest that if you can pick out your toggle in advance to make sure you've got enough of that toggle bar on either side. So here's another one that I really like. Oops. There's a lot of my toggle bar on either side. So it's just something to be thoughtful of. Sometimes a lesser expensive toggle may not offer as much security as others do. Then you've got toggles like this that are actually really good because the material is multi-strand. So it's really going to not allow things to move around too much and wiggle out of there. So I know that's why some people don't like to use toggles. Now, another thing to be mindful of with toggles is I made this mistake many times. I would make a design, finish it all up, and then I wouldn't be able to get my toggle bar through my toggle loop. And it was because I wasn't allowing myself enough room to get through there. So let me show you what I mean. Here's a really fun little heart toggle. And this is the toggle bar. And when you pull your toggle through, you need to be able to pull it all the way up and then let it rest on top of your loop, right? Your toggle bar has to rest on that loop to hold it. Well, sometimes if you string your beads too close to where you attach your toggle bar, you won't be able to pull it through. Your toggle bar isn't going to fit through that hole. So I always try, as a rule of thumb, to create a little bit of a lead in to my toggle bar. So in this case, these beads are pretty big. And I've also got smaller beads in my pattern here. So I'm going to end with a smaller bead. And then I used 2 crimp covers on top of that smallest bead. And I've got lots of space here to maneuver my toggle bar into my toggle loop. So you got to be able to fit that in there, right? So I would just say, as a general rule, especially if you're using large beads and your toggle isn't quite as big as the beads, that you should always create a little bit of a lead-in pattern. It's just good measure. And if you're not sure if it's going to work, what you should do is lay out your design, and you can actually string on your crimp tube and pull your wire through, but don't crimp, and then test it on both, test it both ends to make sure that it works. And if you realize, oh boy, I don't have enough space to get the toggle bar through, you can go ahead and go back and add some beads up top. It's just good measure when you're designing a piece. And I always suggest that you think about the size of the toggle. So this toggle, proportion wise, is probably a little bit small, but I intentionally made this one this way because I really like the way this little heart just adds a little pop of something in the design. But if you're going to use a big design, a bunch of big beads in your design, you probably want to pick a bigger toggle. So a bigger toggle is going to be proportionally correct, but it's also going to add more support of your piece because it's bigger and can accommodate a bigger set of beads. There's more metal there to actually activate and create that closure for you. So just be mindful of that when you're creating your design. Now, if you are thoughtful of the size, if you're thoughtful of the quality, if you're thoughtful of that, that toggle bar fitting into your toggle loop, then you're probably going to have success in using toggles. I would encourage you to give it a try if you're not typically a toggle user. But you can also use toggles in a different way. So this piece I've been showing you, this red piece, I made a really long time ago. And I can wear it any time of the year. And I actually love hearts because it's part of my brand. Deb Loves over there. Deb Loves, LUVS. I'm all about the love at my brand. And so I appreciate hearts. But at Valentine's Day, I would always wear this necklace, and I would wear it asymmetrically with this little heart showing. So I'd wear it kind of off to the side. And I love how that looked. I'll show you what it looks like on me. I love how it looked. Just was a nice little cute little heart popping in all of the red. So I love this design, and I have been quoted saying, show the class. because sometimes your clasp is beautiful. So why not show it? And if I wear it this way, it's one look. And if I pull it back down to be visible, it's another. So you can have a twofer with a toggle, and it can be part of your, sort of accessory wardrobe anytime, anywhere, anyhow. So that's this piece. Now I used a toggle in another interesting way. I'm sorry, this is loud. This is a big chunky necklace. So I made this a really long time ago. These are big glass beads. And you can see I have a smaller back side of this necklace because the front side of my necklace is a toggle. So let's look at that. I picked up this really cool artisan toggle years ago, and I decided to use it as my pendant. So I don't need a pendant because I've got this big, cool toggle that I've made into a pendant by adding some little doodads. So I've got a metal bead and some charms here. And to open and close and get this on and off, I just use the toggle. And I've got all this little fun stuff at the bottom as my focal element. So that's another way you can use a toggle. You can put your toggle on a beaded necklace or on chain. You see that a lot these days. Carboners and toggles are used that way. Add some little charms to them. It can be a big toggle or even a small toggle. So that's just a great way to make something a little bit different than just, a traditional pendant and chain or pendant and beaded necklace. So that's a fun way to use a toggle. Try that one. And then you can also use toggles as charms. So these earrings are really fun. I had some more heart toggles, not surprising. And I decided that I wanted to use them for charms on these really cool little rhinestone cross connectors. And I don't know where the toggle bars are now, but I love how these look as charms. And if you've got a toggle maybe that lost its toggle bar, you could add this as a pendant on a necklace, or you can add it as a charm on a bracelet. So I have no idea where the bar on this one is. So I'm probably going to attach this to a bracelet or make a small beaded necklace and add this as a pendant. So toggles can be used pretty broadly. And I would suggest trying out maybe a big artisan toggle or an unusual shape or style in your toggle, and create an interesting design with it. There's so many options out there. I just think that you could do so many things that maybe you just didn't think about because maybe you're not a big toggle person. So toggles are great. Toggles are meant to be a closure for jewelry, but they can also be fun to work with. And again, if you use the right quality, use them the right way, and think about them in your design, road test them in your design, you will probably be very happy with toggles. So I've told you about toggles. So I'll tell you about something else soon. And I would ask that you please like this video. Please share this video if you want. And I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. So again, I'm Deb of Deb Loves Jewelry and Deb Loves Designs. And I look forward to seeing you again. We'll see what we come up with next. Thanks, everyone.